Yeah! Yeah! I'm back. I'm back. Listen, I saw the breaking news this morning. You guys saw that I told you guys everywhere that I'll be doing this video later. I know you guys already heard about it, but the war room, we got to talk about it. So, Brian Norman Jr. and Devin the American Dream Haney, they will be fighting November.
Your Excellency, I would like to thank you for presenting this fight. Come November, I will knock that boy Devin Haney out in Riyadh season. I'm happy to meet you, and let's make this thing happen.
And the rematch of the greatest fight I've ever saw, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Benn, September 20th. Let's talk about it. All right, first of all, we have to talk about Brian Norman Jr. and Devin the American Dream Haney. And the reason why I want to talk about this, kicking it all off, is you guys don't know how hard it was for me to keep that to myself. I knew all about it, but I had to wait on Ring Magazine to announce the breaking news before I said anything. Do you understand how difficult it was to be on live for hours and not speaking what I know, but I can't say shit? But here's what I know, and don't get it confused. Whatever you hear that is outside of this isn't true, bro. I know the truth. The reason why Brian Norman Jr. and Devin Haney is happening is because Adrian Clark, AC. Love you, boy! AC got it across the line. AC got it done. But here's the thing. The reason why that fight was even initiated was because of His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh was the one. It was actually like his brainchild to make sure that fight happens at welterweight. Right after Brian Norman Jr. knocked out Sasaki, His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh started. He initiated. And then, Bill Haney, I think he already had Brian Norman Jr. on his hit list. So it didn't take anything for Bill Haney to be like, certainly. What you have to do in this situation, give love to all parties, both parties. Got to give love to Brian Norman Jr. Of course, this is the perfect fight for him, for notoriety, to become that superstar, okay? Devin Haney can help him be that if he defeats Devin Haney. And you got to give love to Devin Haney. Devin Haney doesn't turn down shit but his collar. Regardless of what you have to say or want to say about Devin Haney, he doesn't turn down shit but his collar. How I feel about this fight, I don't think Devin Haney has a snowball's chance in hell, to be honest. I think he's going to try to outbox him as much as he can, but in order to, I don't think you can just out-slick Brian Norman Jr. because he's too good of an athlete. He's just too good of an athlete, and expect that ring to be smaller, okay? So because His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh doesn't want the Tom and Jerry shit, and Devin Haney was a part of that conversation. He was. It was William Skull and his performances against Canelo Alvarez, and it was Devin the American Dream Haney and his performance against Jose Ramirez. All right, so I'm pretty sure the ring may be smaller, all right, for that 18 by 18 or something like that. On top of that, Brian Norman Jr. is an extreme athlete. Devin Haney is going to have to swat. Oh, okay. In order for Devin Haney to win, he has to be something that we haven't seen. Okay, we haven't seen yet. And not to say he doesn't have it in his tool bag. He probably does. But right now, I've never seen Devin Haney at welterweight. Brian Norman Jr. is a savage with his punches. One punch knockout power, yes, but he's definitely a brutal, hard puncher, right? But on top of that, he has gotten patient. He has grown in his own IQ himself. That parry and then the hook showed a lot of growth from him, especially his last fight against, who was that, Cuevas? He up until then, Brian Norman just seemed to be like a brutal puncher. He didn't really seem like he had much in his tool bag, to be honest. You heard about what he's done, right, with the likes of Gervonta Tate Davis and sparring. He sparred Boots come up. He just came up through that circuit, sparring Bud Crawford and all those things. But what you saw in the ring was a savage, brutal type of fighter, okay? But what he's been showing, at least in his last two fights, once you become champion, what the custom battle say, you become 30% better. He has shown, elements to his game now that raising his IQ. But against Devin Haney, he can't raise his IQ enough to play the IQ game with Devin. So what he's going to have to do is just go after him like a machete. He's just going to have to go at him in that brutal approach, still be smart, but really there to fight him. And with his athletic ability, he's going to get many opportunities to punch on Devin Haney. Now, the jury is out if Devin Haney can take punches at welterweight and if he can hurt you at welterweight. If he can't do those two things with his slickness and his IQ and his jab and everything, that his movement ability, all the stuff that Devin Haney possessed, now it's a closer fight. What I'm questioning is I just don't think he'll be able to take the punches from Brian Norman Jr. And I don't think he can dish out the hard enough punches to discourage Brian Norman Jr. All right, and he's never been at 147 before, but he's a big kid. But we're excited because I know there's many of you who feel Devin Haney will beat him. Okay, so let's go. It's up. That's the whole point of boxing, right? I'll tell you this though, Turkey Al Sheikh, that video that I posted with Brian Norman Jr. thanking Turkey Al Sheikh, His Excellency is the one who posted it. All right, he posted on his X. So he likes Norman. He does. He likes him a lot. So you're talking about a situation where I think the boxing world is going to be very excited about this, and I think it's going to be marketed well. Both brands is taking a big jump here as far as like a lift in their brand. With Devin Haney fighting Brian Norman, after that, whatever you got to say about Devin Haney, if it's him being weak or scared or a coward or whatever you want to say, that's all obviously a damn lie. Because Devin Haney, all he does is fight the fights, and he'll be fighting Brian Norman Jr. As far as Brian Norman Jr., if that knockout heard around the world, everybody know who Devin Haney is. Now he's going to be associated with that. There's going to be a lot of people rooting for Brian Norman Jr. because you just like that new wave of savage, brutal. It's the boxing revolution. It's the boxing revolution. Okay, so let's move forward. The fight, honestly, that I'm actually more excited about, of course, because it's fight of the year, all right? And it's one of the best fights I've ever seen in my life. It's the greatest fighting event I've ever seen in my life that I lived through personally. I wasn't around for, Muhammad Ali, Frazier, and stuff like that. So I have Conor Benn again. Though Chris Eubank won the first time, what I mean by again is I put money on Conor Benn the first time. I think I predicted Chris Eubank, but I put money on Conor. Now I'm going to predict and put money on Conor Benn. I think after that fight, I think who took the most damage, honestly, who life meter actually went down the most would be Chris Eubank. He's older. The weight cut and all those things, I think, damaged him more. And then the fight itself, the type of guts that Chris Eubank Jr. fought with, okay, he was actually on, it was very unhealthy shit, all right? And I think he spent some time in the hospital. So while Conor Benn, right after the fight, he was fine. You saw him like the next day, it's almost like he was Wolverine. He didn't have a mark on his face, and he was swollen to shit right after the fight, but next day, he was fine. I think Conor Benn, with his youth and fighting closer to his walk-around weight and all those things, I just think the fight took less of a toll on him than it did Chris Eubank. And I think the first one was just definitely a classic. I think this one, a lot of times, the sequels don't live up to the original, all right? But I'm extremely excited about it because it is a sequel to the fight of the year. I'm just saying, right now, as my prediction right now, I think is going to be obviously a Conor Benn victory, I think. Conor Benn hurt him a few times. I think he learned a little bit, and I'm not sure if you'll ever see Chris Eubank the same again. That's honestly how I'm feeling. And I could be wrong. But I know a lot of you guys, of course, we're going to disagree. I personally, prediction-wise, I think Conor Benn wins. Unless the weight is different. Unless they didn't do a rehydration clause for Chris Eubank or something. Unless they gave him a little bit. At least maybe if he got some wiggle room in the negotiations and could cut weight a little bit healthier, then I go back to Chris Eubank. But if it's under the same, guidelines and all the things for the first one, I don't know if he could do that again in a healthy way and be able to make it through another 12 rounds and with the type of savage fight that one was. That one was brutal. But let me know how you feel in the comments below. ShowBizz the Dope. Listen, man, I'm going to still put breaking news in the title, though we didn't break it. But I knew, you guys don't understand. I knew about the shit. I knew about Devin Haney and Brian Norman. I knew it was a done deal days ago. I just couldn't say anything. I'm so happy that I'm able to say stuff, and I'm just so proud of His Excellency Turkey Al Sheikh, the type of fights he's putting together, how boxing is going, and all the fights that you kind of think about are happening, right? The way boxing is going now, they don't let you even thirst for it too long. Right when it's hot and you want it, pause. You get it, pause. So I just like the way boxing seems to be going. It's the boxing revolution. Don't forget, that's our hashtag. Put it everywhere. If you want to talk about boxing, hashtag put the boxing revolution. And when it comes to the rematch, Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, I am completely lit. Out of the two fights, that's the one I'm looking forward to the most. But both of them are just phenomenal fights. I'm out.